card up front.
And
Okay, we get to sign, yeah, then I'll sign it Wednesday and then we'll mail it.
okay, so it should be rolling.
Okay. Hello, everybody in Natural Health Nation. Hope you're having a great day. It's our usual health shot night tonight at 6, and we do these every Monday night at 6 o'clock. The other one we'll be here for is on the 31st. We're going to take a night off, and everybody can enjoy the Memorial Day. So anyway, May is Women's Health Month for us, so we are talking about female cancers tonight. Now, I'm going to give you some pretty general information about cancer. There's a lot of good information if you go to Ty and Charlene Bollinger. It's The Truth About Cancer. You can look that up online. They have some really good video series you can get that goes into lots of explanation about how to beat cancer. And our goal at Natural Health really is to prevent it. That's a much easier thing to do, to prevent it, rather than wait till you've got it and then try to treat it. The treatments in the mainstream medicine are not. So we're always trying to help women and men too, of course, but just women tonight get past this, understand how cancers work. Cancer really is just an immune system went awry. The body normally produces cancer, it takes care of them, but if the liver is toxic, everything's already messed up. You got a lot of trash in the body. It's like, like you have a lot of trash in a town. You leave all the trash around, well, it gets to be rats. And that's kind of like what cancer is. Cancer is the rats that chew up on the trash. So the body just can't handle all of that, the trash, if you just keep filling it up with that. So we're going to kind of see what's going on with that. Anyway, let's just go right into it and see what we got. And, yeah, I'm Dr. Mark here at National Health. We've been doing this now 39 years. So we're doing nutrition and chiropractic here and some energy work too at times. So a lot of fun looking at that side of things. Now the interesting thing for us at Natural Health, being based on chiropractic models and things, we're looking at natural health in a way that we don't have the option of drugs and surgery. So there's no monetary backing for that. So we're just here doing our thing, helping people get well. We work on results. That's all we really care about, is results. We have people coming in that need nutritional supplements, but they also have their own, and whatever works for them, we have a great way of figuring that out, which I'll kind of talk about here at the end. So cancer prevention, I mean, a lot of these are pretty simple, but people just don't think that they have to do with cancer. Right now, like with this virus business, everybody's heard about optimizing your vitamin D. And that's more than just taking a lot of D3. We like to have food vitamin D, get the actual foods in nature that your body's meant to work on, not an artificial or synthetic form of one of the isomers of vitamin D. Get the whole complex and get that working for your body. And sunshine is good. And again, we've heard this information about staying out of the sun because, oh my gosh, you get skin cancer. Well, just a lot of these things you have to just think about for a minute. And what makes logical sense? Humankind has been in the sun for, thousands and tens of thousands of years, depending on how you want to look at it. So it's a thing where it's not the sun is the problem, it's the body, it's the person's body. Like for instance, if you have darker skin or you can tan well, yeah, you can handle more sunlight than a person that's very, the redheaded, very pale skin. But you still need some sun to activate the vitamin D. And that just means you need less sun. So people that are darker skinned actually need more sun to activate the vitamin D. People that are very pale skinned just need a smaller amount. So it's just knowing where you're at. And that has a lot to do with where your genetics came from. Like for instance, if you came from the upper northern European countries, you get a lot of sun, so you have paler skin, you don't need much sunlight to have vitamin D. Anyway, there's a lot of information about vitamin D. Vitamin D is so important. And it's just one of those easy things to do if you just take the time to think about it. Avoid eating excess protein. Protein, the problem that people usually have with protein is they just don't digest it very well. Some people just don't get along very well without a lot of heavy proteins like red meats and things like that. But some people flourish because that's all they eat is red meats. Meats and things and protein. So it kind of depends on more your digestive habits and how your body handles it. And we deal a lot with that with nutrition response testing that we'll talk about here kind of at the end. Eating living foods with amazing health benefits. So again, your body's meant to work on real living foods, not processed junk. People that eat, cereals and, processed breads and all the desserts, all that kind of junk, you're just asking for trouble there. Again, think logically. What was the human body supposed to grow up on? And if you've grown up as a young child eating cereal every morning, having donuts all the time, all this kind of stuff, you're just setting yourself up for a weakened immune system. And right now, you don't want that for the virus business, but also cancer. I mean, it's very, very similar things that go on there. Simplify your cleaning supplies, and that just basically looks at the environment. What is your environment you have your body in? Are you around toxic chemicals all the time? Like for instance, nobody really realizes that Dawn dishwashing liquid has formaldehyde in it. I had been to places and help with dishes and things like that, and it's real cheap. It's real easy to buy Dawn dishwashing liquid, so they always have that around. Well, it's full of formaldehyde, so you're soaking it in your skin when you're under hot suns like that. So it's really important to look at that, look at all the different chemicals in your environment, and work towards get your cleaning supplies figured out. But anything else, makeup, hairspray, all that kind of stuff. Use greener beauty products. There's definitely beauty products out there you can get that don't have all the chemicals in them. So it's important to work towards those. Excuse me. Ditch your nonstick cookware. The cookware has a Teflon in it and nonstick stuff, and that's definitely carcinogenic. Everybody knows that. That's why they went to the copper things. Many people now, all the way back, have gone all around full circle, right back to the cast iron skillets. I mean, that was always a simple thing to do, but they're hard to clean. So we went through this thing of the nonstick. That was so cool, but Teflon is definitely carcinogenic, and it scrapes off. You know that when you scrape a pan that has Teflon on it, pretty soon it's all scraped up on the body. Well, where does that go? It goes into the body. So you don't want to use that stuff. So stay away from that. Drinking clean, pure water. Clean, pure water. That's the definition of what is clean, pure water. We look at spring water, but you always got to kind of look at where that spring water is coming from. City water is not clean, pure water. Any water that has chlorine or fluoride in it is going to cause trouble. The body does not like that stuff. I mean, it's great. If you have, I understand why they do that. They put that in there to kill the bacteria and the lines and everything else as it comes through. But the deal is when you have to take it out at the end, you can't just keep drinking chlorinated water. Very hard on the body for many, many reasons, and that's all that information is easily found there. And the fluoride too, very, very, it's not good for the body. It's hard on thyroids, and especially with women. Most women that come in here usually have a slow thyroid. And so, if you're around fluoride and chlorine and all this stuff, and not getting all the other nutrients you're supposed to get, living on bagels and coffee, well, you're just setting yourself up for not only cancer, but heart disease and diabetes, all these things, all these degenerative diseases that especially Americans have, come from all this food stuff. And then choose organic and locally grown foods. So again, that's a real simple thing to look at. Just try to get locally grown foods. Foods that are grown out in the country usually have other pesticides and herbicides on them, and even grown in this country that are more commercial will have those chemicals on there. You can wash off the outside, but sometimes they get on the inside of the plant. You really can't get rid of it. So you have to buy it organic or grow your own is even better there. That's a pretty general things there. Last two, skip the canned foods. Of course, canned foods are all processed, they're all heated, they're all pasteurized, more or less, and there's no nutritional value in them. I mean, there may be a little taste, a little color, and the cans, either tin, or they're coated with aluminum, or they're coated with plastic on the inside. So again, when that food goes in there, it's hot, and it's going to leach. So just good to stay away from that. And then ditch your microwave. Microwaves, yes, they were very convenient. When they came out, they were very convenient, but they destroy the food value, because what they're doing, of course, the microwave gets in the food and vibrates it, so it heats itself up. That's kind of how it's working. And that energy there just destroys the chemical bonds, a lot of the things that have to do with keeping the food value or the nutritional value of the food in there. And something I see people do that's just horrifying to me is they heat things up in plastic dishes in the microwave. I mean, you're just asking for all that plastic gunk to go into your food. So really, you never want to do that. Never have anything wrapped in saran wrap and all that kind of stuff. Even if you do heat the microwave, put it in a glass bowl, Pyrex or something like that. But anyway, it's still just good not to use a microwave. I never use a microwave. It takes a little longer to heat things up. You just plan things out a little bit. It's not that hard. So I think that's all for my little cancer prevention to talk here. Now, what we do in our office to really look at people who have cancer and figure out what's going on there is our nutrition response testing technique. That's the part I do with nutrition. Dr. Chip does a lot of good with the chiropractic side, getting the nervous system to work correctly. But as far as nutrition response testing, figuring out what the underlying cause of why that problem is there. Now, again, if you have diagnosed with cancer and you're going to the MDs, they're going to have you on a treatment regimen, which I understand. If the cancer's gotten bad, you got to hit it hard. The thing to realize is chemotherapy actually can cause more cancer because it's very hard on the body. You're trying to kill everything, just not quite the body. So chemotherapy is very hard on the body, why you lose your hair, all that kind of thing. Radiation, Madame Curie, who was kind of the inventor of a lot of the radiation or the X-ray units and things, died of radiation poisoning, as did all of her cohorts and co-workers when that all came out. Radiation is very hard, it's very cumulative in the body. Again, working on a certain purpose, what you got to look at is that very healthy long term. And so we're always looking at that part of it. So important to look at that. So anyway, nutritional response testing helps us to get an understanding of what's going on in there, and then get the body. Even if you do the mainstream medical treatment, we want to at the end figure out how to get that body healthy again, so it doesn't come back. Because most cancers come back, or a different form of cancer comes back. So we want to really work at that. So we're here to help, and we do free consultations too. So if you're not sure what we're doing with this stuff, you're always welcome to come in and get a free consultation. Just give us a call at 217-328-2040, and we'll set you up for a free consultation. I'll talk to you about what we have to offer and how we help people. We have a lot of success. We're not going to just say, well, you have to do it this way or you have to do it that way, but we're going to help however we can to get your body back on track so that cancers don't come back, as well as diabetes, as well as heart disease, all that kind of stuff, all part of the same thing. Two parts that are on here, or two things that are not on here that are just a real quick thing I can tell you about is Dress to Kill is the name of a book that goes into breast cancer, understanding how breast cancer works. And two really simple things there is the bras cause problems because they stop lymphatic drainage, and women are using the antiperspirants all the time, and that stops the drainage, and the aluminum in there plugs up things and causes these cells to go awry. So that's two little simple things. Now, realize you can't go without a bra or that kind of thing, but most of the time, if you're at home, don't wear those because actually the motion of the breast moving is pumping lymphatics. So you want to keep those moving as much as you can and keep the pressure off lymphatics so they drain out the liver. Now, if your liver's already toxic, it's not going to help a lot, but that's what we do here at Natural Health is help people get those livers cleaned out, get that trash out of the body. So I think that's enough for me. I've rambled on for quite a while here. Dr. Chip's up. He's going to talk about some of the good information. Dr. Chip, take it over.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it pretty simple, pretty short here. Really just kind of talking about some key components of really just our health in general. Again, we're talking about female cancers here too, but at the same time, again, that is just more of health and disease prevention in general. So what I'd like to say or talk about here is the balancing or a balanced brain and body. Now, why I say balanced brain and body is that when our, again, brains and bodies are well balanced, they're able to heal and function properly. So our bodies, you would kind of agree with, are self-healing and self-regulating, meaning that when we're in proper balance, they're able to heal properly. And so just like, again, you get a cut on your hand or anything like that, you're not waiting or you're not searching for answers and clues on how that cut's going to get healed. You know that with sufficient balancing or sufficient energy for that cut will heal properly. Now, why doesn't that always happen throughout our whole bodies? that could be because our brain and body are unbalanced in some way that we need to address. So, one way of seeing it here is the brain, you could say, is like or you would say is that the mind is like the brain in action. So what the mind is saying. And then in particular, what the mind is saying versus what the body is doing. So you could say is that when our mind is thinking a certain way, but our body is not carrying out that thought or that thinking process, you would say is that our brain and body are out of sync, or unbalanced. But when our brain and body are in sync, or when the thoughts that we're having are in sync with the actions that our body is taking, then again we are very well aligned and actually performing that thought process. And so you would say is that our brain and our body are well balanced. So you could kind of go more here too, is that, I'll kind of get back to that, is that when we are having different thoughts kind of in daily life or in our days here, is that when we are worried about something, we're angry about something, frustrated, and we're wanting to do something, but we are not doing anything, our body is at a standstill, that is the brain and body unbalancing. But when we are able to take an action, it could be uncomfortable, it could be something that we don't quite want to do or anything like that, then we're actually realigning or at least balancing everything out. Now, again, that's not always the right time or right circumstance to do that. But when we're aware of that, when we're able to actually calm the mind, be able to, you would say, take a breath, slow it down, and actually be kind of aware of your body and how it's doing, then we are actually rebalancing our brain and body. Now in chiropractic in general, technique that we use here, or that I use here, the balancing of the body is due with the nervous system. When our nervous system is well balanced, you would say the brain, then our bodies are able to be balanced as well. And so that can go with many things as aligning the spine, letting the nerves to flow properly, or actually resetting part of the brain to help proper nervous system balancing, which again helps the body to balance as well. And so all the cells of your body are being directed by your brain. And so the body, of course, is kind of being reflected from the brain messages. So if the brain is saying something and the body is doing something else, then we are, again, unbalanced. We're not functioning as well or what we want to do. So that's my rant on that. We'll go ahead and keep going here. Now, recuperation. A lot of people think recuperation is just resting and sleeping, but we'll get to recreation here soon. Now, resting, again, we need to understand when we need to rest. We could be working really hard. It could be very demanding jobs that we have physically. It could be something mentally that we're doing that we could just take time. We could take a breath. Sometimes we want to cram everything that we need to do, or we feel like we have to get it all done in a certain amount of time. But that is very hard on our brain and bodies there. And is that if we don't take time rest for even our brains or our minds, then you could say it becomes like a parasite on the body. And so it's taxing the body and it's actually taking away too much energy. And so that's why it's very important. That's why sleep is so powerful, is that sleep is kind of a clearing of mental activity, kind of more of helping the body to restore back to its natural state and getting that proper energy back. Now again, that's why, so rest, again, taking certain restful times is very important throughout the day. It could be resting your body or resting your mind. Now sleep is different for everybody. Again, I think on average people kind of shoot for that 6 to 8 hour range, but again, that could be very different for everybody. A certain rhythm, a certain, you would say, pattern or balance to where now you can have a good quality sleep. And that's very helpful for all of us in general. Now, recreation, so a lot of people don't think about this one for recuperation, but recreation is actually helping different muscles that you don't normally use fire so that other ones can relax. And so you would say is that if your job is something that you're working on an activity, and that's okay, that's good physical work, good exercise. But if we're not having fun, playing, recreation, more of, it could be sports, instruments, anything like that, then we're not getting that, you would say, creative outlet, or that, having fun with different things. Having fun and exercises can be two different things. So when we're able to have fun, we're not actually thinking about the exercise or pushing hard or anything like that. We're actually kind of more enjoying things. And so that's a very key aspect, is that we need to actually balance that out between work and play. Now we'll go ahead and keep going here. Now I think this might be the last one already. So, So why I put this one on here is to bring joy to yourself, but also to others. Now a key aspect here too is that we can get burnt out. We need to actually take time to, if we need to, plan vacations. This is a kind of an easy way to get that recreation that we talked about. Now, some people like to play every day or do it, and that could be 10, 20 minutes. But when you plan a vacation, you're actually having something to look forward to. That can also be this kind of excitement that helps that same kind of brain processing. So again, if we don't have joy in our lives, you could say that's causing an unbalance of the body, unbalance, and that further leads to a illness in the body. Again, that brain and the body need that connection well, and if they're not being connected well, then the cells in our body, especially the cancer cells, again, we have cancer cells all the time, but if it gets out of hand, if the cancer cells start growing, then that can lead to further issues. So when we, again, bring emotions like joy into our lives, that helps to balance out things. We kind of, take things less serious, or we're just making sure that we're actually having fun and doing things that we like to do. And so that's what we have here. Do what you like doing. It can be anything. It could be, again, like we said, sports, instruments, hanging out with other people, or spending time with friends and family, or having, walking your dog, or anything like that. It could be something like that, especially, but it should be something that brings you joy. You actually enjoy doing that. And so there's all of these different activities, but again, we need to have something like that in our lives so that because you can work forever for your whole life, and how are you going to look back on it one day and say, hey, did I enjoy that life? And so, again, that's what we want to make sure that we're doing every time that we can do it. So planning vacations, that's just a very easy way to do that, making sure that we're having that fun. But then, again, do what you like to do. Again, that could be anything. So just kind of getting more clear on that will help kind of just have you have a more positive outlook on life. So I think that'll be it for me tonight. I know that was kind of a simple way of seeing things, but just short. But I think that's the other thing I think about more too, is that we tend to, let me go back to this slide here too. We tend to overanalyze everything that we want to do in our lives, but we forget to keep it simple. I think we get ahead of ourselves a lot. We don't take things one at a time. We think that, like digesting our food, we can't eat a whole week's meal at one time. We need to eat meals at a time, or eat bites at a time. And so when we have that same thinking process of everything in our life, we just gotta take one thing at a time. And so that actually helps that balancing of the brain and body, and helps our bodies to do what the mind is telling it to. And so that'll be it for me. Please go ahead and follow us on, actually our website is naturalhealthquincy.com. You can follow us on social media platforms at Facebook, Instagram, Parler, Brighteon, and YouTube at Natural Health Quincy IL. You can subscribe to our email list. We're located at 2000 Jefferson Street, Quincy, Illinois, and the phone number is 217-228-2040. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys all have a good day, and maybe have some fun sometime this week. So thank you very much. Bye.
Okay.